All right, guys, we are live here on Friday afternoon, April 4th, just after 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll give folks a moment here to filter in. First and foremost, guys, I want to really emphasize today's severe weather threat, especially across the Ohio Valley, not to the extent of what we dealt with on Wednesday. So I do want to make that note. But I do think that there can be some strong to severe storms. I also am very concerned about tornado threats to the west, Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, Western Tennessee, Kentucky. And I want to talk a little bit about that as well. And then we'll kind of time out the potential severe weather, the storms that we'll be monitoring, and then maybe the biggest concern as we get into this evening and especially through tomorrow and into Sunday will be flooding threats. I know that Shelby County EMA had put out a notice about mandatory evacuations in some spots earlier. I still have not seen a map to specifically highlight where those evacuations are happening, but it just goes to show in the flood prone areas over the next couple of days, we have a pretty big concern about flooding issues. And in fact, here's the current radar real quick before we get into the analysis here. I want to show you all the observed rainfall the past 3 days on the Clarity platform. And some of the biggest concern areas that I have are kind of situated across southern Indiana and through central Kentucky. If we click around here, some of these areas have already received 7 to 9 inches of rain here. Southern Indiana, clicking around Floyd County, Clark County, Harrison County, Jefferson County in Kentucky, 5 to 6, 5 to 7 inches of rain have already fallen. And so we're going to add a lot more rain on top of that over the next few days in these flood prone areas, especially kind of in these valley areas. Once you get down into the hillier parts of southern Indiana and Kentucky, I definitely think we need to be on the lookout for some pretty big flood issues as we go through the weekend. We'll get to that later on in this analysis, but here's the current radar. And we go out to the west real quick. Here's where the start of the potential tornado outbreak will be today across northeastern parts of Texas. We can look around here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tornado warnings in effect right now. One confirmed tornado here just to the north and to the east of Grand Saline, Texas. This is, I don't know, maybe 50 miles east of the Dallas metro area. We can turn on our rotation tracks on the Clarity platform, and you can see here some pretty decent rotation with this storm. Again, this is an observed tornado here. A damaging tornado. It was confirmed by law enforcement near Grand Saline. And so there's another one. You can see this pink now, a new confirmed tornado warning in Clarksville, Texas. It's going to be a very, very busy evening from northeast Texas through Arkansas and probably parts of Tennessee, Kentucky, and Missouri as well. We can already see some supercells developing here across Kentucky, across western Tennessee. Any of these, as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon and the evening, will have the capability of producing a tornado, very large hail, and damaging winds. And so, again, a very busy afternoon and evening for these folks to our south and to our west. They just continue to be hit over and over and over. And certainly our thoughts and prayers with those of you that are dealing with more severe weather as you're still trying to clean up. To get more details, as we time things out, our team will be working on Nowcast as we go throughout the afternoon and the evening to monitor severe weather threats. There's a new tornado warning in Kentucky there that just popped up, but monitoring severe weather threats all across this region. Scan that QR code in the top left or go to bamwx.com and click Get Instant Access to access our 7-day free Clarity Pro trial and get all of our custom analysis. So with that being said, let's get into the forecast and time things out for you all as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon and the evening. We have a moderate risk for severe weather right now from northeast Texas into northeast Arkansas and southeastern Missouri. That's a 4 on a scale of 5 in terms of severe weather threats, especially in terms of large hail and tornadoes in here. But we do have an enhanced risk all the way up into western Kentucky and southwestern Indiana. The slight risk has been expanded a little bit further north, almost to the I-70 corridor here from Effingham to Terre Haute to Greenwood, Columbus. All of these areas in here under a slight risk for severe weather as we see these storms come in later, primarily for the threat of wind. If we take a look here at our day one wind threat, pretty decent probabilities that some damaging wind could move through the area, especially southwestern Indiana, as we work into this evening. Could be some large hail as well. I think that the more significant hail will be down here in these hatched areas further to the south and to the west. And then in terms of the tornado threat, you can see that the tornado threat primarily situated here along the Ohio River and points down to the south and to the west. And so, again, I think that for central Indiana here, guys, with this threat, your primary issue going to be damaging winds, potentially some large hail. It's in the orange area that we may need to watch for wind gusts up to 75 miles per hour in the strongest storms this evening, and then a couple of tornadoes, perhaps, and large hail. And so, if you're in these yellow and green areas, I think that the tornado threat is not all that high. I think that the orange area needs to monitor this, maybe as far east as Louisville, based off some of the latest trends to keep an eye on. But for the Indianapolis metro area, I think it's going to be wind and hail, and probably especially wind. Real quick here, I'll scroll through some of the comments and see if we have anything worth taking a look at in here. Hello from Bloomington. Hello from Martinsville. Hello from Middle Tennessee. Glad to see that we have folks kind of all over the place. Willow the weather baby is watching, my wife says. So maybe if we get any additional live streams, if we need to do any more for Indiana later today, maybe I'll bring Willow on and have her do some forecasting for us. But let's take a look at the sim radar. At the bottom here, you can see the time. This is an Eastern time, so this is the future radar. As we go throughout the rest of the afternoon and the evening, guys, I'll kind of scroll things forward. We can kind of continue to see here with this wide view, 6, 7 o'clock here, these supercells developing across parts of Kentucky. Again, any of these that can develop have the potential for large hail damaging winds and yes, tornadoes across Kentucky with these supercells. Further out to the west, where the dynamics are a little bit better, you can kind of see all of these embedded supercells in here across northern Arkansas, southern Missouri, into northeast Texas, all of these areas at play for a couple of significant, maybe long track tornadoes as we go throughout this evening. As we work towards about 8 o'clock here, guys, we could start to see some activity developing in western Indiana along the I-70 corridor. I do think it's worth noting that as these storms come in, there's probably going to be a lot of lightning. I'm also concerned of kind of the west to east nature of things along I-70 across Illinois as we work into the evening hours. You can kind of see that. Note how the heavy storms move west to east along and north of I-70. I'm concerned about some flash flooding potential developing the further we go into the evening. This is by about 9:30 at this point. Still probably tornadoes and some notable severe weather, maybe some significant severe weather ongoing across central Arkansas and southern and eastern Missouri. As we continue to go throughout the rest of the evening, guys, we start to see this line get its act together. Note the Boeing segments. This is probably our 10th live stream over the past week, and we've talked about these Boeing segments a lot. When you start to see this indication on the radar, guys, that is when you can get these damaging wind events. And so you can kind of see that primarily south of the I-70 corridor in here in terms of that wind threat. North of I-70, kind of along and north of I-70 here by about midnight, what I'm concerned about, some extremely heavy rain, localized flash flooding potential, vivid and frequent lightning, maybe some hail in here as well. Some of these storms out ahead could potentially produce some wind and hail threats as well. But this main line moving through, this is 1:30. I wouldn't be shocked if it's more like 12:30 if it's a little bit faster in here. But as this line moves through, certainly the potential for some strong storms, some damaging wind gusts possible. Again, the better tornado threat down to the south and to the west, kind of from Evansville and point south and west. But a wind threat in here, I think, certainly possible as these storms move through central Indiana as we go throughout this evening. Continuing to go through here, you can see these storms push further off to the east as we go further into the overnight hours, probably after 2, 3 a.m., starting to weaken a little bit as they push into eastern Indiana and into the eastern half of Kentucky. But what I am concerned about as we go throughout the overnight, note how these storms along the Ohio River and into central Kentucky just continue and continue and continue. And really, all the way through the morning hours, 9 a.m. tomorrow, we have this line of storms lined up from northern Arkansas, northwest Tennessee, through a good portion of western Kentucky, central and northern Kentucky, perhaps even along the Ohio River, that is going to set up a substantial, if not extreme, flooding threat through the early morning hours tomorrow and probably throughout most of the day tomorrow. And we'll show the rest of the simulated radar here to highlight the additional rain threats in a moment. To kind of highlight where the tornado threat will be, here's a look at the instability at the surface. So, surface based instability. To get tornadoes, you really need rising air from the surface. It can't be well above our heads. It has to start at the surface to be able to get these low cloud tops and tornadoes to be able to go to the surface. And so, where the higher instability is across Western Kentucky, Western Tennessee, that's where your tornado threat is going to be a little bit higher. I could see it getting to Southwest Indiana, maybe kind of west of Jasper, Evansville, Boonville, Tell City, maybe as far north and east as the Louisville metro area. But I really think that north of that, it's going to be primarily a wind and hail threat because the storms are elevated. When you get elevated storms, you're not really going to see much of a tornado threat. And I think that will be the case tonight. And certainly the biggest and more significant tornado threat will be well to our southwest as we go throughout the rest of this evening and tonight. Here's kind of a look at where the tracks are of rotating storms, and you can kind of see this in here. The highest threat here through northeast Texas and Arkansas, weakening a little bit into Kentucky, Illinois, and southwest Indiana, but maybe a couple of rotating storms in there this evening. And then as far as the rain threat throughout the rest of the evening, this is by about 3 a.m. Eastern time, guys, or yeah, 3 a.m. Eastern time. As we get into the pre-dawn hours tomorrow, we just continue with this very heavy rain threat all throughout the day tomorrow, guys. I mean, to be completely honest, maybe areas along I-70 could get a little bit of a break in the morning, probably still some light rain around. But if you're in the southern half of Indiana tomorrow and Kentucky, you're just really not going to be getting a break in terms of this heavy rain. It's going to be raining pretty much all day tomorrow along the Ohio River and through Kentucky. And look at this, it continues all the way into Sunday morning before we get a little bit of a break in here. But then look, more rain possible as we get into the day on Sunday. Just an insane amount of rain possible. And here's a look at the map that we made for additional flooding threats. And so 1 to 3 inches locally in this green area. I think that could get locally up to 4 inches of rain in the blue area. Not everyone in there will get it. It'll kind of be that 1 to 3, but a little bit of a higher chance of some isolated higher totals of 4 inches or more in this blue area. And then where there could be some extreme flooding, 4 to 8 inches of rain plus, if not more, Bowling Green, Elizabethtown, kind of Paducah area, and into northwestern parts of Tennessee. So some very, very notable threats in terms of flooding here as we get into really the next couple of days. Real quick, guys, I will go through. Here's another look at some of the rainfall totals. This is through Sunday at 2 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. And you can see here, guys, where you could get, 6 inches plus of rain across southwestern Kentucky, northwest Tennessee, maybe even locally 10 inches of rain in there. And then just a generalized idea of the rainfall totals across the region as we go throughout the next 48 hours. Real quick, guys, I'm going to go through some of the comments here and see which ones that I can answer for you all. I'm not going to be able to address every single one, but let me see what we can do. A lot of people just are over the storms. I don't blame you. I'm over the storms as well. I certainly am excited for maybe a little bit of a less active severe weather time frame as we get into mid-April. Let's see here. Indy metro area could be some strong winds, maybe the potential up to 60-mile-per-hour winds in the Indy metro area as these storms move through tonight, but not really expecting a tornado threat. Some very heavy rain going to be possible. I'm not expecting that Indy will be bumped up to a higher risk at this point. General timing, guys, will be kind of a 9 p.m. Western Indiana, and it will linger throughout a good part of the overnight. I'd say 9 to maybe 1 a.m. in terms of the severe weather threat for the state of Indiana. Let's see here. Do you think the flooding will compare to 2008 in Franklin? I'd have to go back and look. I think the difference may have been a lot of that came all at once, where this one's kind of spread a little bit more over a 4 to 5 day period. But I can go back and check. I do know that this flooding will be comparable in northern Kentucky towards Paducah, towards Memphis, Northwest Tennessee, to the big flood that happened in 2011, in late April of 2011. In fact, some of these areas could be seeing their highest rainfall totals ever for a 4 or 5 day stretch, which is crazy to think about. Severe risk for Kokomo, lower end there, but maybe some wind threats. I don't know if I would expect widespread power outages with the winds in Indy this time around, but I certainly think that some are possible. I'm not expecting 80-mile-per-hour wind gust in the Indy metro area, but there could be some in the southwestern and southern part of the state. Bloomington, Bedford, down towards Evansville, Jasper, up to 75 miles per hour. That would be where I'm a little bit more concerned about the threat. By the way, real quick, guys, here's some rotation tracks for tomorrow. An additional severe weather threat across the Tennessee Valley and the Deep South tomorrow as well. Again, expecting that to mainly stay south of Indiana. Blue River and Shelbyville already flooding. Again, some evacuations have already been issued there, and with the potential for up to another 4 inches of rain, I'm not surprised about that. Hendricks County, guys, here's the map of just a general idea. So kind of find your county in there. But Hendricks County, you could see some gusts to 60 miles an hour, maybe some large hail with the storms as they move through into the early overnight hours. It will get colder next week. I don't have anything pulled up in terms of the temperatures, but we will see probably some additional frost and freeze risk as we get into next week, and some additional cold shots down the line as well. I don't think that we're completely done with some of these cold shots, and I don't think we've seen our last frost or freeze either. Okay, so here's the severe weather map. You can kind of see some of the timing here on the bottom as well to give you a general idea. I can kind of zoom in here so you can see that a little bit better. But 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, it's a little bit small, but it gives you a general idea here on this map. Let's see. Could we possibly have a watch for Indian Point South tonight? Maybe a severe thunderstorm watch, but I kind of doubt it. Maybe a tornado watch for Southwest Indiana. That wouldn't completely shock me. And real quick, guys, while I have your attention, and because I did see that Michael was watching this earlier, and because for those of you that were watching with us last Sunday, I think that it was last Sunday morning, Michael said that he was going to wear a Superman costume if we get 500 people to walk or run the 5K, the Storm Cancer 5K, later this month. And so here's a look at that. I worked my Photoshop magic here and made Michael into Superman. I thought some of you might appreciate that, trying to bring some lightheartedness in here. We've been very serious over the past week, but we want to get Michael in a Superman costume for the 5K on May 17th in Franklin, Indiana. All the proceeds go to pediatric brain cancer research. We raised over $40,000 last year, so it's a great cause. So scan that QR code. I can have Matt. I think Matt's listening. Matt, if you could throw the link to the 5K here, or John in the comments, so people can sign up. But let's get Michael in a Superman costume. He ran as Thor last year, so I think the Superman will be even better. And he won't have to be in a wig this year, which I'm sure he will appreciate. So again, scan the QR code. And by the way, if you have a business, even a small business, you're just trying to get up and running in the area, reach out, scan that QR code. You can sign up to be a sponsor. The deadline for t-shirts has been extended to get your logo on a t-shirt out to April 14th. And so would certainly love to get a lot of you, a lot of your businesses highlighted and shout outs on our social media pages, and get a lot of you to come out and walk and run and come meet us. We'd love to meet a lot of you. With that being said, guys, let me go back real quick. I'll leave that QR code up on the screen. We'll go away from Superman Michael here for a moment and go back to the severe weather threat. I'll go back to the simulated radar for those of you that are kind of just tuning in. Here's a look, guys. This is by about, I'm going to say 12:30 a.m. I'm going to speed it up by an hour, but 12:30 to 1 a.m. We have strong storms moving through the Indianapolis metro area. So strong storms moving through the Indianapolis metro area sometime between probably 12:30, 1:30 a.m. overnight. Concerned about kind of on the south side here in Southwest Indiana, Bloomington, Washington, Jasper, Evansville, maybe a couple of tornadoes in here, but certainly a damaging wind threat. Could see some wind gusts up to 75 miles per hour And so, certainly concerned maybe about some more power outages down here in Southwest Indiana. I think that primarily here in central Indiana along I 70, flash flooding concerns, that probably, to be completely honest, is the biggest threat that we're going to deal with, flash flooding. Also, frequent lightning, maybe some gusts up to 60 miles an hour, and some hail. But honestly, I think that flash flooding could be the biggest concern as we go throughout the overnight hours. So something to keep in mind there. Let's see here. Do you think there's a chance these storms don't become severe? I do think it's possible. I think that some of them could be borderline strong to severe. It's kind of you're getting nitpicky between 55 and 60 miles an hour. 55 is technically not severe, but I think that the wind damage reports will be much less widespread tonight than they have been for the past couple of systems. And so, your wind damage reports may be a little bit more scattered. Probably more people than not okay than people that get a bunch of damage tonight. But there certainly will be some that do. So that's just a kind of a general idea to keep in mind. Mary, we appreciate that. I appreciate that compliment there, Mary. Imagine if it was snow. Yeah, I don't there was a couple of pieces of model data that were trying to put out some snow for next week. I think it was Monday. We're not buying that right now. Don't get me wrong there, but shows you some of the colder air that's trying to come in. All right, guys. With all that being said, I don't see a whole lot of other questions coming in. Stay tuned to our social media platforms. If we need to go live, if tornado warnings start popping up in southern Indiana tonight, we'll go live. If wind gusts are looking like they're going to be 70 to 80 miles per hour, we'll probably go live. If not, we'll update via our Facebook feed, via our Twitter feed. Be sure to like, share, follow, tag a friend so they're aware of the weather threats as we go throughout the night. One last thing before we go, let's take a quick look in at some of these tornado warnings out here. Now we've got 2 confirmed tornadoes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tornado warnings right now across the country. We'll turn on some of the rotation tracks with these guys, and you can see a lot of rotation on all of these at this point. You can use the rotation tracks, by the way, if you have the Clarity platform. You can use that if you scan that QR code and get the pro trial. But a lot of rotation with these. It's going to be a very, very long night from Texas to Arkansas to Missouri, Western Kentucky. So certainly continuing to think about those folks, and we'll keep you all updated as we go throughout the rest of the day, and certainly with the flood concerns as well. Jessica, I appreciate that compliment. William, appreciate the compliment there on YouTube. Be sure to follow our YouTube channel, by the way, at BAM Weather, and keep up with us on there as well. Thanks, guys. Stay safe. We'll keep you updated, and appreciate all of your support.